Today we are playing Dimir Living End again. We've played another version of this deck. The only difference is that we've replaced Breaking Entering with 4 Overlord of the Balemurk. This card is insane in Living End. You can cast it for its impending cost. Then it becomes an enchantment for 2 mana. You mill 4 cards and you may return a non-avatar creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So this allows you to fill your graveyard, which helps with your Living End plan. It also allows you to retrieve a creature that could be useful at that moment in the game, such as a Shardless Agent in case you don't have one in hand already, or a Subtlety, etc. So I believe this Overlord of the Balemurk is better than the Breaking Entering we played in the other version of the deck. The rest of the deck is very similar. Please check out that video. And don't forget to like and subscribe please. Let's play and see how this performs compared to Breaking Living End. We're on the play. We have 3 Cyclers, a Force of Negation and a Fairy Macabre. I'd say let's keep. Shock in a Watery Grave and pass. Let's open up our graveyard. Opponent is surveilling, let's open up their graveyard too. They keep their card on top, we will cycle a Curator. Find a Street Wraith, let's cycle that too. Trying to find a Cascader here. As Foretold. And another Curator. Let's play the Polluted Delta and pass. Opponent plays a Fateless Looting. Could force this. Let's do that. We will exile a Curator of Mysteries, because the As Foretold might come in handy in case we draw a Living End. This might keep our opponent off of second land. No, didn't. Let's first surveil here. Then we will cycle the Architects of Will. We will get green mana for possible Shardless Agent. Breeding Pool, that's our 3rd land. Yeah, let's keep that on top. Cycle this Architects of Will. There we go. We draw a Darkslick Shores. So let's just cast our As Foretold. See whether that sticks. It does. Okay, we'll pass. If opponent doesn't deal with As Foretold, at some point we can start casting our spells for free, which is a nice side effect. Next turn we might cast a Curator, hard cast it. Opponent plays their 3rd land, fetches. Might cast a Frog this turn. Cast a Fable. Alright, that resolves. Still not sure what we are up against. Maybe Creativity, but they have a blue splash. We draw a Troll. I think we should go with the Curator now. Just to block the Goblin Shaman token. They could possibly Creativity next turn if we're up against Creativity. Let's see, they get to loot with Fable. They loot an Oculus away, okay. If they unearth it, we could get rid of it with Very Macabre. They might actually fill up their yard for a hardcast Oculus. They don't. They push our Curator, okay. They will likely swing, holding up a counterspell, or possible Force of Negation with the treasure token. Okay. We're down to 11. They unearth the Oculus. We will discard the Very Macabre, targeting the Oculus and the Fatal Push. So no Oculus for them. And no possible flashed back Fatal Push with Snapcaster Mage. We find a Subtlety, that's good. So we could Swamp Cycle this Troll. Would cost us 1 mana. I'd want to pick up a Surveil land with Troll, so I think we should just hold on to Subtlety. Hold on to it so we can cast Subtlety. Let's see. Fable flips. They will cast the Goblin Shaman, or they attack with the Goblin Shaman. We could hold on to Subtlety. I think I'd rather block this Shaman to get rid of it. This might eat a counterspell, but opponent has 3 cards in hand. Okay, lives. They push. Okay. That's fine. Down to 2 cards. Let's see what we draw. Living End or Shardless could possibly mean a Living End. Architects of Will. Let's cast that. We could stack our own draws or our opponent draws. I think it might be good to stack our own draws. So could draw an island, another architects. I think we should try to draw the Architects of Will. We could try to Swamp Cycle the Troll, and alright, they terminate the Architects down to 1 card in hand. Attack us for 4, create another treasure token. There's a Psychic Frog, okay. I think this is game because can attack us for 2, they can grow the frog to 5. So our only way out is to cycle the troll, get a swamp, just to thin our deck, and then cycle the architects to hopefully pick up a Cascader or a Living End. There's Living End. Let's cast it. Does it resolve? It does. Alright. So let's see what our opponent will draw, and we will target ourselves. No subtlety triggers. This is our library. So I think a Force of Negation might be nice. So we'll put the land, Stride Riverwinder, Force of Negation on top. Land, Stride Riverwinder, Force of Negation, and there draws Unearth, Thoughtseize, Fateless Looting. We will give them the Fateless Looting last, then the Unearth, and then the Thoughtseize. Let them Thoughtseize nothing. Fateless Looting draws them cards. We uptick As Foretold. There's the Force of Negation. I think we have lethal here. 10, 17. Yeah, we could hold back some attackers, but don't think they have any hasty stuff. So opponent is dead. Alright. We got lucky there drawing the Living End. I think we should board in the Foundation Breakers for a Fable. Impossible Graveyard Hate. Ashiok might be nice. Mystical Disputes are nice. Shriekmaw, they play Frog. Possible Murktide. Harvester of Misery. No. Think we should go down 2 As Foretold, 1 Living End, 2 Street Raids or 3, maybe 1 Foundation Breaker. Maybe actually another one. Run it like this. We have 2 Cyclers, 1 Swamp Cycler, Foundation Breaker, Subtlety. Let's keep. Ideally we just Subtlety a Frog to buy us some time. Especially when our opponent has a fetch land and hasn't fetched yet. That would mean if they top the Frog, they cannot fetch. Unless they want to lose the Frog. We'll just let the Thoughtseize happen. Basically, discarding anything would help us, so they got rid of our Subtlety, okay. That's fine. As Foretold, okay. Let's just play this Polluted Delta and pass. They might cast a Frog now. They don't, so let's just Surveil here. We need green mana for the Foundation Breaker. We need blue mana for the Curator. And Stride Riverwinder. I think we want to go Undercity Sewers first. Very Macabre, that's a good pickup I think, in case they want to unearth an Oculus. We'll just play a Polluted Delta and pass. Let's open up our opponent's graveyard. They have nothing. Alright. I think we want to hit our 3rd land drop. Let's take it a bit slower here. We will just Surveil. Get the Mortuary. And with the Troll, let's get blue, black mana. Opponent is fetching. Not sure why. They flash in a Bowmasters. Okay, but we're not drawing anything. We will get a watery grave. Let's see what we have on top. A curator, we can bin that. Find the Dark Slick Shores. I think we could cast the Fairy Macabre, but I'd rather hold on to it. Could play the As Foretold. Yeah, let's do that. This thing might be dangerous in the long game if they cannot deal with it. They cannot counter it. Opponent is down to 12. They attack us for 2. And pass the turn. Okay. Counter on As Foretold. We find another curator. We will shock in this watery grave and cast the curator. We're down to 13. Mystical Dispute, that's fine. Just getting the counters out of their hand. Next turn we will cast another curator. Opponent is down to 3 cards, we're down to 11 life. Cast a Tamio, okay. Might have another Mystical Dispute. Okay, Colossal Sky Turtle. I think I still want to go Curator. Another Mystical Dispute, okay. So we'll just pass. Opponent is down to 1 card. Get hit for 2. Opponent passes. As Foretold is at 3 now. Find a troll. I think we could swamp cycle this. Get a basic swamp. And let's see. Should we get a watery grave? Opponent might have a harbinger. So let's just get a basic swamp. I think we should just cast a foundation breaker targeting the clue. And we have a blocker. If our opponent counters this, we get yet another counter out of their hand. They sack the clue, okay. We, of course, won't. They push the foundation breaker, okay. So 2 cards in hand. We could play the Fairy Macabre, but I'd rather hold on to it for an Oculus in the yard. They will hit us for 2 again. They do create a clue. Might. Okay, they thought sees us now. Yeah, we should just let this happen, I think. They take the Sky Turtle most likely. Take the Fairy Macabre, okay. So put a counter on As Foretold. We find a Shardless Agent. Let's just fire that. Can fire that for free. Opponent concedes, alright. We are on the play. We have oppressed the enemy and Living End. 2 cyclers and a subtlety. I think this could work as long as we keep hitting our land drops. So we'd likely just surveil turn 1. To make sure we hit our land drops. Opponent plays a Plains and an Aether Vial. Sure. If they start putting creatures in play with the Aether Vial, we cannot do anything with our subtlety. Street Wraith, let's bin that. We need land. Shardless Agent, okay. So we'll just play the Polluted Delta. Get our Underground Mortuary for green. Try to hit our 3rd land drop. Let's open up our graveyards. Opponent surveils. Likely black-white blink. We will first surveil. Underground Mortuary. Opponent might still not know we're on Living End. Shardless Agent, no, we want land. So let's bin that. Then I think we want to strike Riverwinder in the yard for possible subtlety. Find a Troll, that's a tap land. Find another Stride Riverwinder. So I think we'll just go Troll. Get a Swamp. Play that and pass the turn. So we could still cycle an Architects and a Stride Riverwinder and have Shardless Agent. There is a creature. Opponent might not know they are up against Living End. They might play Boggart Trawler, exiling our graveyard. That would be bad. They shock in a Godless Shrine. They tap Aether Vial, okay. Lion Sash. They can exile cards from a graveyard now. That's unfortunate. Troll is gone. They go after Stride Riverwinder, yep. And Street Wraith, yep. Okay, so 3 of our creatures gone. But we have more, so we will cycle the Architects. Find an Overlord, we will cycle the Stride Riverwinder. Could hold on to the Subtlety. Could also pitch Oppress the Enemy to it. Let's first see what we draw. An As Foretold. Think we could hold on to the Subtlety. Let's not overcommit. Could go Shardless or As Foretold. I'd rather go Shardless. Because they could possibly counter As Foretold somehow with the Force of Negation. Doesn't seem like they are playing blue, but it's nice to get rid of their Lion Sash and Giver of Ruins. We get a few nice creatures back. We will stack their draws. So we will just give them the Stoneforge Mystic last, then the Philia, and then the Polluted Delta. And pass the turn. Opponent upticks Aether Vial to 3. They concede. Alright. So Shriekmaw might be nice. Harvester of Misery. Damping Matrix. Bit too slow maybe. 2 Foundation Breakers for Aether Vial. Think we can go down 1 Living End, 1 As Foretold, 1 Press the Enemy, 1 Force of Negation, 2 Street Wraith, and another Force maybe. They might have a Wrath of the Skies, but it wouldn't do much against our high mana creatures. Let's just run it like this. Do have 2 Swamp Cyclers, a Surveil Land, and a Subtlety. Yeah, we could keep this. Just taking it slow. Let's see. Opponent fetches. Shocks in a Godless Shrine, Giver of Ruins. I don't think we really care about that, because it will be board wiped with a Living End. Dark Slick Shores. That would allow us to go Overlord turn 2. Yeah, let's do that. They will possibly flash in Ophelia. Could Subtlety that. Let's just get a Watery Grave for an extra blue pip. Very Macabre is good. Okay. Let's shock this in. We'll cast Overlord. Okay, let's see what we hit. Very Macabre, Harvester of Misery, Troll. Still have a Troll. Harvester of Misery would deal with Ophelia. If we settle their Ophelia now, they would just stop it and cast it next turn. And they could give protection. So I think we should just take the Troll. Pass the turn. Overlord down ticks. There's Ophelia. Subtlety that. Opponent concedes, alright. We are on the play. We have a Shardless Agent, we have a Troll, and we have a Stridebraver Winder. Let's keep this. We'll likely lead on the Dark Slick Shores. Swamp Cycle the Troll, get our Underground Mortuary. Surveil, play the Striped River Winder. Let's open up our graveyard. Opponent is down to 6 cards. Okay. Dark Slick Shores pass. Let's open up our opponent's graveyard. Ragavan, okay. So we could cycle the Stridebraver Winder hoping to find a Subtlety. But that's fine, I think we're up against energy. It's good to preserve your life total. Let's just get this. Colossal Sky Turtle. That would allow us to bounce the Ragavan. That might be pretty good actually. So let's just do that. Maybe we should have played the Polluted Delta to fetch and shock, but that's alright. Opponent might have kept a one-lander. Okay, we will bounce the Ragavan with the Sky Turtle. There goes the Ragavan. Okay. I think we should just... Okay, opponent is surveilling. I think we should just Living End now. Get rid of their Ragavan. Put 2 Fetties in play. Too bad we couldn't cycle the Stride River Winder, but so be it. There's another troll. We could wait, but I'd rather just go for it. Shock in the breeding pool. Shardless Agent. And Living End. There we go. And pass the turn. Attacking for 6 in the air. Troll can be blocked. So possibly hitting our opponent for 12. Do play their 3rd land. They go Spyro. So they could possibly have 3 blockers for Troll. What do they discard? Probably a Flage. Yep. And a Ragavan. So find an Architect's of Will. Let's just swing. Need to get as much damage in as possible. They're close to flaging though. They are not blocking the troll, okay. They double block Shardless Agent, which is fine. Opponent is down to 5. We will play our Survey land. Waker of Waves will go in the yard. And just pass. Opponent plays a Plains and a Flage. Sure, think they are dead nonetheless. We could try to get a Subtlety here. Let's do that. And As Foretold. Can still hit a Subtlety here. Another Architects. Let's also just cycle that. Next turn we could Living End again. We don't find a Subtlety, okay. They might deal 3 to one of our creatures and then use a Galvanic Discharge, okay. So they're down, they're up to 7, there's a Discharge. I think we should just swing for 6 and probably Living End. There's an Architects. They still cannot Flage. I'm not sure if we want to show them the As Foretold. Opponent down to 1. They cannot Flage without losing 1 life at the moment because of the Sunbay Canyon. So let's just play this Dark Slick Shores and hardcast an Architects of Will. Stack their draws. Have 2 cards in hand. Make sure that they don't draw a land. Okay. So Voice of Victory on top. Static Prison, okay. Ward 3, so they are... Oh, Ward 2, okay. Not many people know about the ward. Yep. They play a land, they cannot fetch. Find a Fairy Macabre. Let's just swing. Do have that Voice of Victory, they have to block. Yep, we will probably get rid of Flage in the yard, so they cannot escape it. They cannot crack this fetch. They are going to draw another fetch land. Yeah, I think it's best to just get rid of Flage now. It does show them the Fairy Macabre. I think they will cast the Voice of Victory. I think we should just Swamp Cycle this now. Get an Undercity Sewers. There we go. Another Troll. We can hardcast that, so let's just draw that. I want to avoid them seeing the As Foretold alternative method we have of casting Living End. Opponent has a fetch land in hand now and a Voice of Victory. They crack the Sunbay Canyon, drawing the Arena of Glory. You do have to pay 1 energy. There's the Arena of Glory. There's the Voice of Victory. Buys them another turn. We will just swing. They have to block. There they go. I think we'll just hardcast the Troll here. Opponent will likely concede now. They fetch and die, alright. So we're up against energy. I think the Harvester and Shriekmaw are nice. 2 Foundation Breakers for possible Graveyard Hate, Fable, Goblin Bombardment. Asiok is good for the long game. Maybe 1 more Foundation Breaker. We will get rid of the Street Wraiths because we don't want to deal damage to ourselves. Probably get rid of the 2 of the Force of Negations and maybe all of them. Probably have some Thraben Charms. I think it's fine. Let's just run it like this. Two lands, a Shardless Agent. We don't have access to blue at the moment. We do have a Waker of Waves. Let's keep this. We will open up our graveyard. They fetch right away. Is it a Guide? Is it a Pride? Possibly a Ragavan. They fetch a Plains and they go Guide. Okay. Let's see. Shriekmaw. Okay. think we will just play the Dark Slick Shores and pass. Opponent plays a Flooded Strand and fetches right away. Maybe a dashed Ragavan. Shock in a Sacred Foundry, Voice of Victory, okay. We could cycle the Stride River Winder, see if we could hit a Subtlety. It's not really, we do hit a Subtlety here. I think we do have to Subtlety this because otherwise we cannot cast any spells. Let's pitch an Architects to it. Opponent won't gain life and energy, which is also important when you're up against energy. They are topping this card though. They hit us for 1. Okay. So we could Shriekmaw. Game would go on for a bit longer. Shriekmaw would put Guide of Souls in their hand. I think we'll just play the Polluted Delta and pass. Shriekmaw's effect would kill the Guide of Souls. Not sure they keep mana open. For a Molten Rain, okay. So we will fetch here, shock in the breeding pool that we need. Should have tried getting us off of green mana here. So we find a Troll and a Harvester. I think we will bin the Harvester. Oh, I misclicked. I should have binned the Harvester and not the Troll. That is a misplay, misclick. Oh, we do find another land, that's good. So let's just play the Dark Slick Shores. We could go Shriekmaw or we could go Harvester. I think a Guide by itself is not that problematic. Shriekmaw in the yard, is that better than a Harvester? No. If they dash a Ragavan, we could go Harvester. They shock in a Sacred Foundry, play another Guide. Yeah, that's fine. Voice of Victory. They gain 2 life, 2 energy. They are hasting this. Harvester cannot hit the Voice of Victory, so let's just get rid of this Guide here. He might cast a Ragavan. That's fine. They would all be board wiped after this turn. Opponent is moving to combat. We will just Shardless Agent. They can jump it, hopefully they do so. Lose out on some energy for possible Static Prism, Galvanic Discharge. Okay, we go down to 8. That's fine. Yep, they have to sacrifice their warrior tokens. Okay, Curator. We have to shock in this Watery Grave, Shardless. And let's Living End. Shardless would die, opponent scoops. Okay. We are on the draw this time. We have 2 lands, Wake Earthwave, Subtlety, Very Macabre, and an As Foretold Living End combo. Yeah, let's keep. We will likely lead on the Polluted Delta. I'd rather not use this Subtlety. Yeah, let's just let this happen here. Let's open up our graveyard. And their graveyard. So let's see what we draw here. Living End. Okay, let's play the Polluted Delta and pass. Another guide, yeah. Sure. Soul's Attendant. I think I want to surveil, see what we draw. Let's get some green mana for possible Shardless Agent. Underground Mortuary. Sky Turtle. Oh, let's spin that. We're really looking for that land. Let's just let this happen. Do gain a bunch of life and energy. But it is what it is. Hopefully they spend that energy. Yep, they do. Okay, we're down to 16. We find that other or third land, so let's just sit back. Next turn we're going to As Foretold and Living End. Opponent has 4 cards in hand. We find the Ghost Quarter. Okay, Voice of the Blessed. Yep, that's fine. Opponents might not know they are up against Living End here. Could hit us for quite a bit of damage. Oh no, they only have 2 energy. So they only hit us with Guide of Souls. Okay. Let's cycle this Wake Earthwaves. Street Wraith, Very Macabre. Could take 2 more damage off of a Street Wraith. Or just discard the Very Macabre. I think we'll take the Very Macabre. Now we will go As Foretold. Oh, we're in our combat stage for some reason. Let's cycle the Street Wraith. See what we draw. A Troll, okay, let's Living End. Cast with 0 mana cost. There we go. And we will just pass. Opponent scoops it up. Alright, so let's get the Harvester of Misery, Shriekmaw. I think 3 Foundation Breakers. They might bring in some artifacts, some graveyard hate. I think we should go down on the Street Wraith. 1 Force. Press the enemy could be good against the Voice of the Blessed. But by then we might be dead already, so let's get rid of that too. Just run it like this. 2 lands, a troll, Overlord. Yeah, we could keep this. Leyline of Hope, alright. Might get out of hand really quickly. Dark Slick Shores is good. I think we should find some green mana off the troll. Let's open up our graveyard. Opponent is probably trying to raise us. Let's open up their graveyard. Might want to cycle the Stripe River Winder. Actually, to subtlety this creature. Let's try. Nope. Okay. Let this happen. So we could use Overlord to dig too deep, or okay, there's a Shardless Agent. So we kind of have to go troll now and get access to green. Let's do that. Just get a survey land here. Underground Mortuary. Play that Curator in the yard. So next turn we will go Shardless Agent. Hopefully. Ocelot Pride, sure. Gain a bunch of life. Energy. No graveyard hate whatsoever. They gain 1 more life. Okay, they're up to 26. We draw another Living End. Let's Shardless. Green, blue, blue. Yep. Here we go. Okay. And we will pass the turn. Opponent has 3 cards in hand. We will hit them for 17 next turn. Might. Okay, I thought they would cast a Chump Blocker. They don't. Path to Exile. The Troll. Okay. We could Waker of Waves trying to find a Force of Negation. I don't think we care about this so much. Let's just get Swamp, I guess. We draw a Force of Negation, okay. We will swing. And play a Watery Grave tapped. Next turn we could go Overlord. Hardcast Overlord. Opponent down to 15. 4 cards in hand. We have a Force up, we have a Waker of Waves that we could discard. Okay. I think we will just deploy this Waker of Waves. See if we could hit a Subtlety. Get the Scry one. Colossal Sky Turtle. Yeah, we will keep that. So we could... Oh, we have a Shardless Agent as well. I think we'll put a Colossal Sky Turtle in hand so we could just bounce their Righteous Valkyrie. We have enough power in play to decide the game. Could also have them block. I think we'll just bounce here. Use black and blue. We scry one. As Foretold is good. Let's pick that up. And just swing. GG, well played. Okay. We are on the play. 2 lands, As Foretold, Overlord, Very Macabre, and a Subtlety. It's kind of slow. Let's just keep. Good Overlord turn 2 and turn 3. Let's play our Polluted Delta and pass. Opponent is surveilling with a Hedge Maze. We'll open up their graveyard. Open up our own graveyard. Might be against Simic Ritual. Okay. So I'd like to get green, but we also need blue. So I think I'm gonna go with an Undercity Sewers. That's another land, that's good. We'll play that and just go Overlord. Impending. If we find a Shardless Agent now, we cannot cast it, unfortunately. Curator, Troll, I think we have to take the Troll so we can get access to blue mana. Green mana, sorry. Opponent just passes, alright. We find a Living End, so we could go As Foretold, Living End. Think we would just Swamp Cycle this. Get an Underground Mortuary. See what's on top of our library, another land. Think we could use that. We have enough creatures in the yard. Overlord is down ticking. Opponent is fetching. They cast the Ice Fang Quaddle. Think we should Subtlety this, but we would lose out on our As Foretold. So maybe we should just let this happen. We do have access to counter magic now with a Flare of Denial. There's an Oracle. Yep, nothing we can do about that other than getting rid of our As Foretold. They do have a Harbinger. It's unfortunate. Find a Polluted Delta. Think we should go. Could go As Foretold, but it would likely get countered. Subtlety likewise. Let's just try to go As Foretold. Yep, Flare of Denial, okay. Just play our land and pass. Opponent is fetching, probably a basic forest. Yep, there's Harbinger. I think we're kind of screwed here. Let's see what we could find. Don't have access to green anymore. Just thinning out the deck here. We will get a Watery Grave. Okay, there's a Street Wraith. Play out our Swamp. We cannot go Overlord other than Impending. Think we should just pass. Overlord down to 1. Opponent attacks with everything. We would use Subtlety here. Probably Flare of Denial this. They don't, alright. Then we will get rid of their Harbinger. They have a Dismember. It's custom, alright. We will cycle Street Wraith. Find another Living End. Okay. Down to 11. We do get an Overlord next turn. But their Icefang Quaddle has Death Touch. Just cast the Architects here. There's no way we can cascade with a Shardless Agent, because we don't have access to green. They do sink into Stupor this thing, that's fine. Then we will just pass. Pawn Profit, sure. Draw a card. They sink into Stupor. The Overlord. I think this is game. So we're up against Simic Ritual. We'll get it. Foundation Breakers, Harvester Shriekmaw, Mystical Disputes. Let's get the Inevitable Betrayal. We want Living End. So we don't really care. About the Fairy Macabres. About the Striped River Winders. The Street Wraiths. Let's just run it like this. We are on the play. No lands. Well, 2 lands, oppress the enemy, and 2 As Foretold. Do have an Inevitable Betrayal for the As Foretold. Think we will get rid of the press the enemy, keep this. Opponent has no turn 1 play, so we might as well play our Watery Grave tapped and just pass. Play a Chalice on 0. Yep, that is unfortunate. We will cycle the Architects of Will. Find a Foundation Breaker. Let's shock this in. Pass the turn. Should try keeping them off their creatures, then they don't have counter magic. Okay. Find another Foundation Breaker. I think we could just safely pass. There's a Quaddle. Let's counter that. Six cards left. They shock in a Zephyric Springs. Yeah, this is game. Alright. Okay, we have an As Foretold, a Living End, 2 Fairy Macabre, and an Architects of Will. We have 1, 2, 3 looks at a 3rd land for As Foretold. Let's keep. It's not such a great hand, but at least we could Living End. Just start with the Dark Slick Shores and pass. Open up our graveyard. Open up our opponent's graveyard. They Thoughtseize us. So there goes our As Foretold. Very unfortunate. Or they might take the Living End actually. They take the As Foretold. So I guess trying to find another one or Shardless Agent. Find another Architects of Will. I think we will hold on to that. Serum Visions. Yep, cannot do anything about it. Well, I mean, we could force it with Architects, but it's not super good. They have a Mountain, okay. Cycle. Subtlety, okay. I'd rather have another land though. Street Wraith. Cycle. Shardless Agent, okay. Yeah, we should let this pass. Stuck on 2 lands. Opponent does have another land. Shock in a Watery Grave. Snapcaster. I think we should let this happen. See what they target. Thoughtseize. We'll just use our Very Macabre. Get rid of their Thoughtseize and Serum Visions. Alright. Death Shadow. Could Subtlety that to avoid a stub. I think we will. They will probably top this. They bottom it, so they might have another one. We do need to find green mana for a Shardless Agent. Find another Architects of Will. Cycle. Colossal Sky Turtle. Again, no mana. This is gonna impact us really quickly. Death Shadow, sure. Could bounce it with Sky Turtle. There's green mana, but our opponent likely has a Stubborn Denial. I think we should just go for it though, to have a chump blocker as well. Let's see. Opponent concedes, alright. So might bring in some artifacts. Could bring in the Mystical Disputes for Stubborn Denial. Possible Frog. Maybe 2 Shriekmaws. No. I think we can get rid of the Street Wraith. Maybe 1 Mystical. Let's run it like this. Do have an As Foretold Shardless Agent. We have green mana. We have a Foundation Breaker. Let's keep. We could Force of Negation the Thoughtseize. They just pass, alright. Let's just play this Underground Mortuary. Overlord. I think that might be better in the yard. Let's see. Consider, sure. Let's open up our graveyard. Opponent's graveyard. They surveil a Thought Scour into the yard. So they might play on Earth. They shock in a Watery Grave and cast a Psychic Frog. Yeah, that's fine. Troll, okay. Think we will just cycle the troll. Get an Undercity Sewers. Play that. See, Curator in the yard. And we will pass. Opponent fetches. Shocks. Cycles a Street Wraith. It's a nice target for a fairy. Opponent is down to 9. They do get to draw. Polluted Delta. I think we should get an island here. Spare our life. And try to cascade. Might have counter magic. We will see. Yep. Counter Squall. Alright. Sure. We still get our Shardless Agent. And we will pass. Opponent is fetching again. Shocks in a Blood Crypt. 5 cards in hand. You're going to give the frog flying. Okay. So the frog will hit us. There they go. Do get to draw, that's very unfortunate. They surveil one and draw a card. Surveil Scalding Tarn into the yard. Inquisition of Kozilek. I think we would probably force this. Because we don't want to get rid of our Fairy Macabre. They cycle and unearth, okay. 5 cards in hand. Find another land. I think we should just swing. Maybe just cast the Fairy Macabre now. As a jump blocker for frog. Could try to keep getting in for 2. Opponent scoops, alright.